Girl, some of these bitches are really two-faced, don't you think? Did you see what I did there? Oh yeah. Hello everybody, welcome back to the Kiki. My name is Chris. Thank you so much for joining me again this week. I am so thrilled to see you. First things first, make sure you're comfortable. Bring your friends, because there's room for everybody. Get a drink, get some snacks, all that kind of stuff. And, you know, make sure you got your reading glasses, because honey, we need to Kiki. Okay, let's get into this. So Miss Fame has just left the building. Bye-bye, Miss Fame. Rah, 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 we do love you. And all the queens are gathering and they're looking at the message and they're having a bit of a kiki, as we're doing, girl. And you know, they're all talking about what just went down, the fact that everyone sort of threw Miss Fame under the bus, apart from Violet, who threw Trixie under the bus. I couldn't quite get my words out there. Ooh, it's annoying when that happens. And we see that Violet is getting really frustrated that she hasn't won a challenge since the very first week. And so she's determined to win the next one. So the pressure is really on her now because it's been such a long run since she won anything that she knows that they're going to be watching her and she needs to turn out something good if she wants to stay in a competition. So the next day comes and it is the top 6. Can you believe this, girl? Top 6. We're like, oh, honey, getting close to the wire now. We're getting real close to the end of the line. You can see the finish line. Ooh. And all the girls have come back into the workroom and they discover that Miss Fame has left a note for each of them. You know, a sort of congratulatory, motivational, encouragement kind of note. So RuPaul comes into the workroom and announces to the remaining queens that the mini challenge for this week is they have to give themselves free plastic surgery cosmetic makeovers. They have to use regular old tape to change the way that they look and make themselves look more cosmetically modified. This challenge would obviously happen after Miss Fame has gone home because, like, bitch knows how to use a tape to, like, change her face. To be fair, I would have loved to have seen Miss Fame, like, really go to town with that because that would be funny. And so they have 20 minutes to stick all this tape all over their faces and then make themselves look vaguely pretty and then get into drag so that they can create characters for the hit new TV show, the fake Housewives of RuPaul's Drag Race. And with these characters that they've created, they have to create this, you know, introductory, whatever it is, the title role sequence where they introduce who they are and why you need to watch out for them. Now, this mini challenge was hilarious. This is one of my favourite mini challenges that I've ever seen in RuPaul's Drag Race history. Maybe not my most favourite, but one of. It's up there. It's right up there. It was just so funny. I mean, hello, can we have a quick shout out to Katya? Like, she used, like, all the tape. She was just like, I'm going for it, girl. She looked like the bloody Grand High Witch from the film The Witches. Have you seen that? Like, proper, like, melted, evil, scary witch that will turn you into like a rat or a mouse or a hamster, whatever it was. Either way, that film was scary and she was making me relive it, girl. Violet has like created this pig nose thing, which is just everything. And when they're doing the title sequence, Ginger, Is It Me, sounded a lot like Darian Lake when she did the whole glamours and makeup, you know, Cougars plastic surgery thing. She sounded like really, really similar. I was like, is that her? But this mini challenge was so funny. Everyone did really, really well. And honestly, I think this should have been a maxi challenge. I think they could have taken this so much further and said to the queens, right, you have to come up with a character yourself, do the intro sequence and all that, but also do sort of an improv scene where they are in character and they're like sat around a table as they always are in these shows, having like some wine and a little bit of food. And they have to like come up with something like, you know, raucous and all that kind of stuff, drama filled. And I think that would be a really great main challenge. I think that this idea was wasted on a mini challenge. Although it was funny, I think it could have really gone over the top and I would have loved to have seen more. And also, that being said, can someone please commission this to be like an actual TV show? Because I would watch that. Like, everyone would watch that. It would be so, so funny. like someone, Logo, World of Wonder, ABC, NBC, CNN, Fox News, BBC, ITV, Channel 4, like pick a channel, someone do it. Like, please, please, we are all wanting this, I know. But what this mini challenge got me to thinking was, if we were in the fake Housewives of RuPaul's Drag Race, what would our intro be? Like, if we had tape all over our faces and we're telling people to watch out, what would our thing be? So I thought, together, we could come up with something along those lines. Because it's what we do, girl. So today, we're going to go with the hashtag. Hashtag fake housewives. So my one, for example, credits are rolling. I've got my face all taped up. Clearly, I'm half drunk. And I'm stood there going, you think you can read me? Honey, I wrote the whole damn library. So I want to see what your intro would be in that kind of thing. So put it in a comment below with the hashtag fake housewives. Because I love seeing what you come up with. And so I cannot wait to read all the fake housewifey goodness. And Rue reveals that Violet is the winner of the mini challenge. And so for the main challenge this week, RuPaul announces that the queens have to get into pairs and learn a dance routine based off of a dance mashup. So there's the Tango Vogue, there's also the Charleston Twerk, and the Country Robot. But they have to do it in half girl drag, half boy drag. This is some real Dr. Jekyll and Mr. How you doing? A realness. But can we just take a moment, because I am so fed up now, because this is another challenge where the queens have to like learn something that is dictated to them. You know, in the same strain as the acting challenges, which are scripted and they have to learn the script, and the singing challenges where they have to learn the lyrics. This is another one where they have to learn the dance. Like someone has come along and is teaching them the choreography. And I'm just sat here like, I'm so done with this. I want to see some of their character. Like we have had so little like chance to see what these queens would come up with. Like, you know, we had like the comedy bit for the Despy Awards. Like, yeah, that was funny because we finally got to see some jokes that they were coming up with. But like, you know, the Shakespeare challenge and like, you know, the Glamours and Airways dancing and then this dancing, and then we've had like how many singing challenges where they've been given the lyrics. And you know, there's so many challenges where they are being given the instruction, and like that's fine, but I don't want to see that every week. Like I would love to see a challenge, like a sewing challenge, heaven forbid, where they can actually inject a bit of their personality. Like we got to see a little bit of it with the singing challenge at the beginning, the parody one, but they worked in a group with that. But like other ones, I'm just having like, I'm so done with this. I want to see a little bit more of the queens and not how well they can take direction, because at the end of the day, I want to see what they're doing. I want to see what they would bring. I don't want to see their interpretation of someone else's vision every week. I want to know that after the show, they will still be able to come up with something that I've not seen before, something original and unique. And that's not happening at the moment. So I am over it. So over it. Can we please have a creativity challenge where they can actually do something themselves? Please. And breathe. So as winner, Violet gets to choose the groups. So she chooses for herself Katya, so they're now a pair. She also chooses Ginger with Trixie, and that leaves Kennedy with Pearl. So the girls start practicing, and they're all like, you know, doing their little 1-2 steps and all that kind of stuff. That's the, you know, technical lingo. 1, 2, cha-cha-cha. You know, I was passed up on being a judge on Dancing with the Stars. Oh yeah. And Ginger is like totally in her head, like again, hello, because what? Bitch, don't dance. It's just like the whole Sacha Bell thing all over again. She's presented with a challenge that she knows she can't do, or that she will struggle with at least, because, you know, she could do it if she wanted to. And she's just like, shut down mode. And I'm like, for God's sake, you are so super talented. And like, she's so confident in everything else. But then as soon as she's in this little comfort zone that she doesn't know, she's like, I can't do this, I'm out. I'm like, girl, like, I get it. We all have our little insecurities and stuff, but to completely just shut down, like not even trying, you're just like, come on, because you're funny, you're really good, you're such a good drag queen. Come on. And hello, Ginger and Trixie again, like twice in a row, like, okay. Kennedy as well knows how to dance, like, properly. So this is going to be interesting to see what she does with Pearl, because she can dance. And, like, Pearl does, like, clubby stuff, but Kennedy, like, is the T. And Violet is saying to Rue that she's going to turn it out, that she's not a dancer, but she's going to turn it out, you know, going to make it work. And Rue's like, but we've heard that before. And Violet's like, well, I've said it before and I'm still here, so sorry about it. But Rue is really not convinced, you can tell. So then the girls go off to the studio so they can begin their training and learning of the choreography that has been force-fed to them on a spoon. So Kennedy and Pearl are up first, and they're doing the Charleston twerk. And Kennedy shows off that she knows exactly what she's doing. She can, like, flip-flop and split and, you know, spread and all this kind of stuff. And, like, honey, we know that that is going to come in hell useful in the bedroom. And on the flip side to that, Pearl can't really dance. So it's kind of a tricky matchup because Kennedy's, like, knows what she's doing and Pearl is just like, yeah. So they're probably going to face a couple of troubles and they need to practice a lot. So then Cartier and Violet are up next and they are doing the tango vogue. So they're getting taught the tango and they're getting taught how to vogue properly. And, you know, they're sat there like, open the compact and then start painting the face. Madonna, eat your heart out. Violet is struggling a little bit, but she's taking direction very, very well, and Cartier is just being Cartier and is all like, oh my god, this is gonna be the worst day of my life! Because that's what she does, and we love her for it. So then it's Ginger and Trixie up next, and they're doing the country robot, and Ginger is really struggling with this. You can see her mind is like totally taking over, and she's not really like getting the dance, and Trixie's getting it a lot faster than her, and she seems to be a lot more into it, and so you're just there like, how is this gonna work? And like at one point, Trixie has to lift up Ginger, and I'm sat there like, girl, is your insurance up to date? Medic! Ooh, the shade. I mean, to be fair, she did fall over, so there you go. So then the next day comes, and Ginger reveals to Trixie that she's been up all night practicing the robot. Which for me shows that she's at least committed. Although she is kind of in her head, she's at least knowing that she needs to really, really practice to make sure that she doesn't go home. So that tells me that she really wants to be there. So that's good. And Violet and Cartier are getting on really, really well. And you can see that Violet has really grown on Cartier. And Violet's growing on me. Like, she is totally, like, starting to blossom now. And it seems that in a group, Violet is a bit more, like, guarded and a bit more shady. But, like, one-on-one, she totally opens up. And so I think had she had more time and more challenges where she could interact individually, she would have been more liked by the workroom sooner. And I'm just really, really happy because I love what Violet does. And at the beginning of the series, I was so like, oh my God, she's so cold. I want to see some humility from her. And she's showing it now. And I'm just like, hurrah! I love it. Love it. So good. So then we get to the main stage and RuPaul comes out looking absolutely gorgeous. And halfway down the runway, she reveals that she has a tearaway. Hey, hey, where are people at? Where are people at? Seriously, someone call Roxy Andrews, tell her she stole her bit, and lawyer up, honey, lawyer up. And on the judging panel tonight, we have Rachel Harris, who I don't know because I'm British. We also have Alyssa Milano, who I know from Charmed, and we've got Carson Kressley, who I know from RuPaul's Drag Race, obviously. And on the runway, we get to see the queens in their half boy, half girl, dragtacular extravaganza. So Pearl comes out first and she is working the stage. Like, it's a good little runway, but it's really crazy to see the difference, like in actual, you know, real time, the difference between her boy self and her drag self. Like, the eyes are so very different and the way she paints just completely changes her look. And I know that's like the whole point, but to the point that she's almost unrecognizable, which I find really odd, and I don't know if it was like a good thing or a bad thing. I liked the contrast, but at the same time I was a bit like, I don't know if it suits how, you know, because he's a handsome guy, and I don't know if she needs to paint herself like that. She could probably rest a little bit more on how her natural face is, but I don't know, I'm not a makeup artist, so... But yeah, I was a bit like intrigued, but I'm not sure for a good or bad reason. It's very avant-garde. But like, when he walked out as like half boy, even I could hear, and I'm on the other side of the ocean, I could hear half of America's ovaries sighing with, like, you know, sexual excitement. Like, honey, hashtag the thirst is real. Kennedy comes out and it looks like she's wearing Jasmine's tearaway from episode 1. She's serving a little tissue, a little ash, a little cook. Trixie looks great. She's totally serving boy and girl. She's got 2 little personalities going on and it was really, really cute and campy. I liked it. Ginger, I wasn't really a fan of the girl drag dress, as it were. Like, the colours were a bit too muted for me, and usually when it comes to, like, dancing stuff, like Dancing with the Stars and TV shows like that, the colours are really bright, and I was just like, these are a bit muted. But, you know, and had it had maybe a bit more frills or something, really make it like Flapper Girl, like 1920s, all that kind of stuff, then it might have worked more for me. But yeah, the dress, just the colours really was the main thing for me. Just brighter. Violet, oh my god, this was stunning. Like, absolutely beautiful. She had the whole boy-girl thing down. Like, both looks were polished to, like, the maximum. Like, some of the other queens, they had done their girl dress, as it were, but, like, the men part, they kind of, like, phoned it in. They didn't really, like, do much. But Violet, like, took it to the next level and, like, did the little moustache, and it was just, like, really polished. And, like, the way she held herself as well was fantastic. And did you clock this? Violet was wearing 2 different shoes, like, as half of them were, but they were different heel heights. And she was making it look as if, like, they were the same height. Because it's hard to walk in something like, you know, when you're wearing, like, a shoe and then you're not wearing a shoe. That's really hard to walk properly. And she did it. And I was like, I didn't even clock it straight away. But I was like, those heels aren't the same height. And hello, quote of the episode, bam, Pablo. She totally sold it. I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. Like, so good. She's so polished for someone her age. So polished. I'm looking forward to seeing what she will do over a long period of time. Like, oh my god, she's talented. Katya, that was a beautiful look. Very similar to Violet's. The contrast was great. I loved that whole, you know, the coy and then the sort of the douchey bravado kind of guy. It just really worked. It was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So then we get to see what their final dances are, and it's all very Strictly Come Dancing, or for the Americans, Dancing with the Stars, but I'm British and we do Strictly Come Dancing. That's what it's called, Strictly Come Dancing. And Michelle Visage was hosting, so that's nice to see her getting involved again, so that's all good. So Kennedy and Pearl, it was a little stiff, mostly from Pearl, but she was doing her best to sort of turn it out. I do think out of the 2, she was the weaker link, but I think anyone would be the weaker link next to Kennedy in a dancing competition. But that being said, Kennedy, there wasn't a whole lot of energy, I felt. Like, she was good, don't get me wrong. She knows exactly what to do, when to do it, and all that kind of stuff. And, like, some of her moves, like, hello, can we talk that flip into the splits? Like, come on. But I do think that there was a little bit something missing from Kennedy's performance, like a little bit of pizzazz, that Pearl actually brought. So whereas Pearl's skills were a little bit lower, her energy was a little bit more than Kennedy's. So it kind of balanced out pretty well, but I do think Pearl was the slightly weaker of the 2. But I'm being really nitpicky here. But am I the only one that noticed this? They seem to be getting a little bit too into the humping each other bit. Like, the thirst is real, everyone. Like, bitches be thirsty. Ginger and Trixie, I thought it was a really fun performance. Considering how nervous Ginger was about it and how many issues they had in the practices, I think they did a really good job. I do think it was a little bit lacking in something, but I think that could just be the choreography. When you compare it to the choreography of the other 2 groups, it doesn't seem as, I don't know, fleshed out almost. So I'm wondering if whoever got the country robot would have already had a sort of a step back, like a hindrance. Like, I just think that because the tango is so passionate and effervescent, and the Charleston twerk, there's like a lot more fun to be had there, but the country robot, just, it seems like 2 things that really don't go together. And so I think whoever got that would really struggle to make it work. And so I think they did what they were told to do well, but what they were told to do wasn't as exciting as the other 2, I think. So that could be what my issue with it is, because there was a little issue that I had with it, and it's really hard to pinpoint, you know? But out of those two, I do think Ginger was perhaps slightly weaker, but only slightly. I think Trixie was a bit more like on her cues, but Ginger did really, really well to keep pace, considering how nervous she was. So props to them both. I thought they did a very good job, all things considered. You know, the things that are in their control anyway. And then Katya and Violet. Okay, this was everything. I personally love the Argentine tango. I love the music that goes with it. I love the dance. I love the passion. I love everything about that. And I would love to learn how to do it one day. And like, if anyone out there can teach me how to do it, like, let's do this right now, because I think it is just, oh, so damn sexy. But I am also absolutely fascinated with voguing. And, you know, like Paris is Burning and watching all them sort of, you know, do voguing. And you see it in like videos on YouTube, like when the girls are doing it in the club and that kind of thing. I'm fascinated by it. So to put the two together and the music that went together was just brilliant. And to have like that break off from this really sexualized dance into something all about self and, you know, expressing yourself in weird and wonderful ways. I thought that worked really well. And I would love to see that kind of thing included on a mainstream TV dancing show, like Strictly or like Dancing with the Stars. I loved the combination. So for me, I was like, it's 10 points from me. So I want to see more of that. Like, it was just so good. I was like, literally, the first time, because I watched it twice, the first time out, my jaw fell open. It was stunning. And that tango is a hard dance to do. That is not easy. And if you've not done that before, that is impressive to like get to a good level in such a short amount of time. So props to you both. And also, while we're talking about it, did you notice that they were all boy on one side and all girl on the other? So it meant that when they were dancing together, you know, like face to face, one would always be boy and one would always be girl. And then if they swapped around, then they would be boy and they would be girl. So it always meant that someone was the boy dancer and someone was always the girl dancer. I thought that was a really nifty little detail that just made the dance work so much better, because otherwise you'd always have like boy on boy and girl on girl. And I just think to have that, you know, change, that contrast constantly between the two, and the reversal of roles as well was really clever. I thought it was a very well thought out challenge. So then we get to the judging and the girls' critiques, and we get the word of the episode from Pearl, flazedar. I am in love with this word. I am so using this. Like, I don't know how, I don't know when, I don't know where, I don't know why, but I'm going to include flazedar into some sentence at some point, and it's just going to be fabulous. But don't ask me to spell it, because I ain't got a blooming clue where to begin. So all the girls actually get pretty good critiques. Everyone is kind of praised, because they all did a really good job, to be honest. You know, the critiques that they were getting were nothing too devastatingly bad, like, oh, you were a bit stiff. Oh, you know, it didn't come across exactly right, but you were pretty much there. You know, oh, you were a little bit out of time. It's not like they were completely out of time or anything. It was like just the most minute things. They are really splitting hairs now, which is kind of what you expect to happen at this level of the competition. Also, did you notice that throughout the judging, Violet stayed in character? So her girl side had her hand on the front of her waist, very feminine, and the boy had his hand firmly planted behind his back. And so you've got this sort of somewhat, you know, posture-filled character, but you've got one that's very much more feminine and slightly more relaxed. And you've got this man one that is, you know, stiff back and all that kind of stuff, and like proper dancer. And I clocked it and I thought, well done. Like, that totally sold it as well. Like, you're just looking at the two and you can't decide which one you're supposed to be looking at. I thought Violet shone in this episode. I am gushing about Violet. She totally did it for me today. Loved it so much. So Ru decides to judge the girls in pairs. And this is another one of those moments, I think. I think we should like get some kind of like big red button, like a buzzer that we can press that sets off like an alarm. You know, controversial decision alert. You know, it just seems there's been so many controversial decisions this season that something like an alarm like that would prove useful. And the reason I say this is because I don't really think that the top 6 is the right time to be judging people in pairs or the groups that they're in. I think, you are now down to the wire and they've shown off everything that they can do, I suppose, in the groups. And now it is their time to shine individually, I think. And so to put these queens together and then judge them as a pair, I'm not convinced was the right thing to do. Now, I loved this challenge, do not get me wrong. I thought this was a very, very clever challenge. But if you're going to judge them as pairs, I think it would be fairer to have done it when there were 8 left, not 6. It just seems a little bit unfair that if one of them messes up, then it puts both of them into the bottom 2, and then it's entirely down to the lip sync. And if the one that messed up is a better lip syncer than the other one, then it's like, I don't know, it just doesn't seem really fair. So I think it should have been done individually. Personally, that's my 2 cents. Whether that would have changed the result, I'm not entirely sure. But since we are judging as pairs, Katya and Violet are both the winners of this challenge. And this as well, right? This is another reason why it should have been individuals, judged. Because I'm so over, people, joint winners. I'm so over this. It is ridiculous. This is the 4th time that 2 people have won a challenge. This is ridiculous. Almost half of all the challenges have been won by 2 people. That's insane. We've had Max and Pearl both win at the Despy Awards. We've had Ginger and Kennedy both win at Snatch Game. We've had Trixie and Pearl both win as the conjoined twins. And then we've just had Katya and Violet both win. And I'm just sat here pick one. Okay, it's nice maybe once to have a joint win. Okay, if someone did really, really, really well, do a joint win. But if you're having all these group challenges and then you're just letting every group just win jointly, despite the fact that one may have done better than the other, not so much today because I thought Katya and Violet were both very good, but if you had to give it to one, it would probably be Violet. I'm just sort of over it. It's very nicey of the judges to give everyone a win. Oh, everyone's won. Yay, happy days. In the wise words of LaShawn Beyond, and which was then, taken over by Ru in subsequent series. This is not RuPaul's Best Friend race, okay? This is the Olympics of drag. Pick one winner, because this is ridiculous. There's been too many joint wins, and it's skewing the results, I think, because, Ginger has 3 wins, but one of them was shared. Pearl has 2 wins, but both of them were shared. Violet has 2 wins, but one of them was shared. Same goes for Katya. And it's how are you supposed to then judge that? Is a win when it's shared half a win? Or is it a full win? Or I don't know. I'm just a bit over it. There's a lot of things I'm over at the moment, and that's one of them. But anyway, that's just my 2 cents on the matter. So Pearl and Kennedy are safe, and Ginger and Trixie fall into the bottom 2. And you can see instantaneously that Trixie's eyes just go ugh. You can see that she knows what's about to happen. And it sort of is really sad, really, because she, in Untucked, she said she thought she'd won this challenge because she thought she did a really, really good job. And she obviously didn't realise that they were going to be judged in pairs. And as soon as they realised they were judging in pairs, she said in her commentary, she was like, well, that's it, I knew. Since Ginger wasn't the strongest, it means that they fell into the bottom 2, and that's because of someone else. And that's what really irked her at the end, especially Untucked when she's talking about it. She was irked that it wasn't because of her work, it was because of someone else's that forced them into the bottom 2, and that person's a better lip syncer. So they go at it, Ginger and Trixie, they singing Show Me Love. And, obviously Trixie's going to be under a microscope because she's left the competition and come back, and because Ginger is a very, very good lip syncer, and she's got 3 wins under her belt. But the thing about that, though, is that Ginger, I think, did have the better lip sync. Her lip sync was tighter, her performance was better, it was funnier, there was a lot more going on, whereas Trixie was kind of doing octopus arms for the most part. And the lip sync wasn't quite as tight, which was a shame, really, because I know she's a very good performer, but it's very hard to do that kind of thing against someone that is, crawling across the stage and getting a laugh for it. So you know, she was up against it. She really, really was, and she knew it. So it's revealed that Ginger stays and Trixie must sashay away for the second time, unfortunately. And it's very sad because Trixie did a very good job, but everyone did a very good job. It's not like it was kind of completely unjust. You know, so when it comes down to it, it's just what it is. And at this stage, as I said before, this stage there's 6 left, well now 5. These are all like on the same level really, and you are really trying to split hairs. You are trying to find that one little detail between them that you can then say, you deserve to go home for that. And in this particular episode, you're just sat there like, but they all did really well, to be honest. Like if they had all done those performances when there was like 12 queens, those would have been the top, like for sure. So you're just trying to find which one did the worst. And then, you know, you take into account the joint judging of the pairs, you know, someone's going to go down with the ship. Unfortunately, it was Trixie, but I think she has really done herself proud. She did a great job. She looked fantastic and she has shown the world exactly who she is, and the world has fallen in love with her. So I know she's upset, but I think she will do absolutely fantastically after all this. So she may not have won the crown, but she has won the hearts of people worldwide, which I know is so cliche and like so corny, but it's true. Like she's converted me, but she totally won me over. From, you know, from the beginning I was a bit like, what? Like, I don't get it. But then I got it and I was like, I love this bitch. So, you know, props to Trixie. Very sad to see her go, but every elimination now is going to be a hard one and it's going to be very sad. But that's the nature of the competition. So that is everything. I hope you have enjoyed this episode. Thank you so much for joining me, everybody. Thank you for, you know, being here and having a laugh and having a kiki and having a gossip and chatting about everything, you know, so thank you for coming back. Don't forget to include your hashtag fake housewives in the comments below. I want to see what you will come up with. I want to know what your bitch intro is, okay? Also, obviously, drop a comment with a message of all the things that you noticed you want to talk about, want to discuss, and everyone comment on each other's because it's what we do. We get the conversation started, girl. Also, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button, that like button. Thumb it up. And also there's a button down there. It says subscribe on it. If you haven't hit the subscribe button already, would you do me a favor and hit that for me? Because then you can come join the family and we're all friends here. So come join the family and you get a big hug. Ooh, if you do hit the subscribe button. Yay. But if you already have hit the subscribe button, as always, thank you so much for hitting it. And thank you so much for your support, your continued support, because the Kiki would not be half as fun without you guys. That is everything. So until next time, be good, be safe, keep out of trouble, because I know what you lot are like. And always, always, always stay fierce, okay? Take care, guys. Love you. Bye. Mwah.